Yes, so we are recording.
Yep.
Okay. So, Manish, thanks for being here. And mainly, I wanted to, sort of know a few things from you. Top three questions that come to mind is like you can talk about your journey. So, it's been 5 years since, you were in the classroom. And
Yeah.
in the 5 years, like, how's your journey been in analytics? And you've done different exciting roles. You can talk about that. And the other thing I want you to highlight a little bit is that, uh, like, if given maybe let's say 5 years back, if you were to redo this, would you do anything differently, or what was your
Mhm.
learning? And lastly, I guess, what would you want to share, as an advice? So basically, now it's your time. Okay.
Sure, sure. I'll start chronologically. So the first question, uh, for me, the world changed when I kind of a graduate from a post-grad from SMU. Before that, the world seemed a bit different. For me, technology was a total different perspective. And then after that, I've not seen technology the way I used to see it. I had a 4-year experience before I did my master's. And at that time, the way I used to look at technology, it was more from, okay, automation could be the biggest thing that could happen in my future. I mean, that's the only thing I could have imagined for myself. But yes, the moment I was reading about analytics, and then those ladders we used to teach us, the customer analytics part, it's not just about data, but it's also about the business understanding. It was intriguing. But then after I came out, after kind of graduating, I kind of sensed and I asked myself, what exactly would I want to be? In fact, when my friends there at SMU, I was discussing them with them as well. I clearly remember we all were kind of fixed. What to do next? Okay, fine. Yes, we know data science, perhaps data analytics. We know it. Now we understand what we're talking about, how to progress ahead. We took our paths. I was also on the same flux. I tried so many different things. I tried my hands at some few startups as well. But then I thought, why not to join KPMG? I mean, that's where I began my career altogether with. Uh, but it was not about any organization per se which I joined, but it was more from the perspective of what kind of work I'm going to do. How I'm going to be very much useful.
Yeah.
Uh, if somebody tells me, this is a document, just do it, this is what it is, then perhaps not for me. And that monotonous life can be anywhere. It could be in a life of a scholar who could be a PhD, or an actor, or somebody like me. It could be anywhere. So that monotonicity was hitting me hard. I was like, okay, let's see what to do next. And then some complications in visa and stuff happened. Career took a turn, and then came in JP Morgan. And they were like, boss, here we are, and we do such wonderful work in technology, and we look forward to somebody like you. I said, why not? And then I joined them. The position was, I was very much open to join in Bangalore, and I always hoped in my engineering days that, oh, I would love to go to Bangalore. It happened to be Mumbai. Nothing against Mumbai, but
Yeah.
I had no experience of Mumbai per se. Although just one thing was that, okay, it's an expensive city to be in, but yeah, a lot of work are being done in this space. Not maybe in startups, but the established organization. And JP Morgan is a huge name in Mumbai itself, apart from the world alone. So I said, why not? I gave a shot. It was more of a digital transformation role, which you really which we were talking about. I had a good look on the nitty-gritties of technology. It was more than data science. It was less than automation. Basically, it was everything. I was understanding a whole new domain. Finance to me could be as much as I could read in Economic Times. That's the only knowledge I had about finance. Forget investment banking; it's such a heavy word. And everybody around me was either a masters of finance, or their domain. It was their domain, so they knew like a back of their hand what they're doing, and not me. So I had to really kind of learn my way out from those investment products, keeping the data science alive. And hence I understood that it's not about which is a crucial information, or perhaps a teaching I got from SMU, that knowledge never ceases. It is the exposure that I got, perhaps, that when I saw those senior VPs and directors getting educated with me. And at that point in time, it was a great big thing for me. Definitely it still is, but I might not have understood the underlying part of it, which I understood when I went in JP Morgan, that so much of information is there and we are not tapping it. And people who are ready to tap it, hats off. And then my journey perhaps began. I started out doing certain things which were not in my department happening at all. It could be creating one normal dashboard which was solving, let's say, hundreds of. So I was in middle office solving 500 to 600 people's life at a time. And I was like, boss, this is just one normal dashboard. Maybe I have beautified it. Okay, I understood it's making somebody's life easier, but this could have been done so easily. Why this organization was waiting for me? But then I realized it's so many things have to be done. It's not just about one organization. Everybody is into this. Who is gonna take up some task and do it? My boss at that point in time, happens to be a manager, and we share same name. He gave me a push. Why don't you do this? Forget what we do. You do that. But if you have that passion, let's try something, do more. And I perhaps that was the push I needed, and I started doing something more out of my comfort zone. Then Saturdays and Sundays, late nights didn't matter. I guess that's how it is. If you start loving something, then these things don't matter at all. And then happened something which totally transformed the way I was looking at it. I started my product journey in JP Morgan. We started creating some internal products there, and it caught my attention. Oh, product management is such a beautiful word. What if product management marries data science? I mean, it was not happening then. I'm not saying it's not happening anywhere. It was not happening in the department I was at. Why don't we do that? While I was struggling with this thought, a person came and he said, "Listen, I would like to have a discussion." And this HR from CRISIL, she kind of reached out to me and said, "Manish, so our CIO wants to have a discussion with you." And I was like, "Why would the CIO want to meet me?" I'm like, "Fine." I was not looking for a job change, but since it was CIO, I'm like, "Why not? It's a big opportunity for me, maybe to interact." And then we went on discussing technology for next 2.5 hours. And I just did not know when the time just passed out. It was not data science or any particular technology we discussed. He's a man of vast knowledge. So we were discussing from Wi-Fi to deep learning, everything. I was like, he knows too much. I was like, fine, I know I might not be selected because he didn't ask me anything. We were just discussing. And here I am at CRISIL. And since then, it has been a complete shift for me. I have done multiple hats. So I am heading the Data Science Center of Excellence here. I'm also heading the product division for the corporate technology. I'm not tagged to some business as such. And also, apart from this, I'm doing what I always wanted to do. Perhaps that's a vision that I share with my CIO. It's like working with startups. My CIO already had a startup, which he ran successfully for I believe 10 to 15 odd years until it got acquired by my current company. So we were hitting it hard that if we don't have a capability in terms of infrastructure or people, who is stopping us not to tap on the latest technology? And then perhaps we started another system in CRISIL, which was startup ecosystem, where we'll bring on vendors, the startup guys. Doesn't matter how hot you are in market, how big, short you are. If you could be a 10-day startup, fine. You have the capabilities, you onboard it. We'll do a POC perspective and all the stuff. We'll evaluate. And so far, for last 2 years, I believe we have worked with some 3 to 4 startups. So that has been my journey in a crisp. Yeah, but still, data science lives, and I'm guessing it would live forever.
Absolutely, it's phenomenal. I think so. You've taken a very interesting path, and it has not been a very conventional kind of a analytics. Like now we call it data science. I guess 5 years back we were still calling it
Analytics.
analytics. But a very interesting, insight that kind of looks into the face after listening to your journey is that the lines have become so fluid, right?
Yeah,
That if you're talking about data, fine, you have the data, let's say you know how to analyze the data, but that definitely doesn't stop there.
not at all.
And it's about the other technology, and how advanced the organization is with respect to that.
Right.
And then what are the type of, how do you kind of contextualize that and
Mhm.
put it into use, and then you start talking about product management and you start creating products. So the lines are really getting blurred and
Absolutely.
fast. And the other
Fast.
thing which kind of also stands out is that I mean, definitely you get the head start in the classroom, but then you learn on the job, and that's absolutely essential. Like it's something that I guess we all are doing. No matter
Absolutely.
you're doing that in the university, you guys are doing that. Maybe wherever you are, and I think
Absolutely.
everyone in any profession has to do that. Keep
Yep,
on
yep.
evolving and keep on updating because the world is
Absolutely.
changing at that speed. Uh,
Absolutely, Prof. The world is ever changing. In fact, when I joined my current company and where I am till right now, the kind of problems we're discussing back then, it's somewhere in 2018, uh, the last part of 2018. The problems we were discussing at that point of time and the problems we're discussing right now, there's a huge shift.
yeah.
Although we have not covered a lot, but from the journey, from the time, it doesn't look like much. It's not even 2 years, but the kind of the excitement that this has built up around
Yeah.
the kind of use cases we are encountering every single day, it's different altogether. We
Yeah.
started from data extraction, and today we are talking about AR and VR. I
Yeah.
mean, that's, and there's so much that we have actually covered in between, which, right, it started from R&D to now we are industrializing few problems, the use cases, and we're still doing R&D. So I
Yeah.
believe R&D is something which I never wished, frankly speaking, or never ever imagined I would be part of. Because as I said, I never looked industry from that perspective. That no, I could be somebody who would be in R&D. I was more into somebody who, okay, you create something, I'll make sure it gets utilized. More from client focused.
Execution, basically.
Yeah, I would say delusional.
Execution
More a focus what people
situation,
require.
yeah.
Absolutely. Now the paradigm has a shift now. It looks not from the perspective of what customer wants, but also what we can give to the customer in the near future. Right
Yeah.
now, my client might not be. He or she could be in a situation where they
Right.
might think, okay, I am doing this business with X and Y company. We are getting this much of benefit, and that's fine. Okay, and this is the next 5 year strategic plan, which might have technology or might not have. I mean, these are the situations where I have seen strategical map or roadmaps for companies. They don't have technology as the front runner.
Yeah.
So this is something which we have actually changed. Putting up technology as a front runner doesn't matter whichever business you are at.
Yeah, and I
It's
think
more
the
of,
realm of what's possible has completely
yeah,
changed, and the time that it has taken to change is phenomenal. Like 2 years,
absolutely,
1 year,
yeah,
things which used to take probably a 5 years, span would now be
agree.
possible, and new use cases coming up all the time.
Agree. So what you're talking about, I was more from a recipient. Okay, I understand when people talk about this, industry is changing, times are changing, and I was a customer for that particular piece of
Right,
advice.
right.
Yes, you say that, and I agree. Now it feels like I'm on the other side of the road. Where I'm speaking about it, the industry is changing,
Exciting, which is
which
exciting.
is exciting.
You're riding the wave, so to say.
Looks like that. Hopefully.
So, can you share maybe some experiences which
Mhm.
you would say that maybe I should have taken another path, or basically maybe if you probably thought that I should have planned more, or what do you want to share, as an insight?
I I think I don't want to do anything differently that I did, frankly speaking. Whatever career, the way I started my career, I did engineering. I started somewhere in 2010 with a company, and then perhaps 4 years stint with that, and then analytics happened. It just happened to me.
Yeah,
If I perhaps go and change, I mean, it's a flash concept. Maybe some of my friends at SMU would understand that. We used to discuss about it. If you do that at flash point, you might want to change the timeline, but then the due course of it changes. I might not be where I am right now.
yeah,
So I think it's all beautiful that it's all strategically placed at some point of time, and where I am is because of what I did. You know,
absolutely.
uh, it could be some part of it. It could be a bit of my hard work, a more of my luck, whatever. But yeah, where I am right now, it's because of my past. I would not want to change what I did,
Yeah,
but I would definitely want to visit my classroom again at SMU.
visit the classroom again.
Absolutely,
Come to Singapore after the whole COVID-19 is
absolutely.
over. That would
I
be
have
great.
to. I have to. My friends even they're like,
I
when
would
will
love
we?
to call you in my classroom, for example.
I would love to.
So it's amazing. And I guess so. The takeaway here is that if you're learning on the job and you're evolving, and then you would sort of make progress in the right direction. But the direction is evolving as we speak.
As we speak.
So that is the best way to kind of learn and
Agree.
evolve.
Absolutely. There's no one path that perhaps I
Right.
can't suggest somebody a path that you
Yeah.
take this path and you do this. No, I believe it's more of open mind. Perhaps that's what I would want to give
Yeah.
away, that keep an open mind. I was not somebody who was into coding at all,
Right.
but here I am solving deep learning problems,
Right.
and it's exciting.
Yeah.
I might not be doing coding part in any bit of now.
Right.
I am more towards approach side. So
Yeah.
it's like my team works with me. I decide approaches with them, and
Yeah.
then they get on doing the coding part, right?
Right.
Whether they do Python, Go, Julia, doesn't matter.
Right.
Love of the another takeaway would be love of language is facade. Don't love a language.
Yeah.
Love the concept. If you are mathematically strong,
Yeah.
that's where you want to be at.
Yeah.
If you can solve an algorithm on pen and paper,
Yeah.
taking all those lean algorithms and deep learning algorithms, if you can solve them on paper, you're there. Doesn't matter how do you do it with languages.
And I think the obstacles to implementation have reduced as well. And
A
the
lot.
time it takes to implement and productionalize something has also come down considerably. So it's
Agree.
about really identifying the problem, mobilizing the resources, and
Yep.
and either maybe positioning it as a product, or
Mhm.
you maybe kind of give it as a solution. So I think that's more
I mean,
important.
that has taken a shift now. I started my career as a SaaS guy,
Yeah.
software solution as a service.
Right.
That's the basic
Right.
model every IT company
Right.
would be following. And here I am, and I'm seeing the shift in paradigm. Nobody's talking about SaaS, even not product as a service. It's become
Right.
platform as a service.
Correct. Correct.
So Google is a platform, for example, and you have variety of products, YouTube,
Absolutely.
Google, and so many things on it. It's
Correct.
all PaaS now.
And that's possible now
That's
because of the
possible now.
entire technological advancement that has
Absolutely.
happened. So you're not really
Absolutely.
looking for one or
Microservices, I believe microservices and DevOps are the two main ingredients which are taking the whole shift.
right
Data science is able to reach those heights
because
now because of these elements that are there.
absolutely. So that's great. And any maybe learnings that you would want to share with your colleagues and maybe with the students of
Uh,
analytics.
I would prefer read as much as you can. I mean,
Mm.
that's something that kept me going
Right.
because I was not doing what I'm doing right now, my whole
Right.
career, right?
Right.
But it was the knowledge that you take from reading.
Right.
Just don't lose it because and that is still okay with me because even if I'm still in the game,
Right.
my game is going to be obsolete in the next 6 months.
Right.
That's how the pace is. I
Exactly.
have to be reading all the white papers, the
Yeah.
talk of the industry,
Yeah.
meet people, the networking that SMU taught us.
Yeah.
This is where we are, the kind of networking you want to do. That
I
is the crux
recently
of it.
read a very interesting, I think, article somewhere which actually compared the R&D spending
Mhm.
of different industries, and they compared it to the investment in advertising.
Mhm.
And surprisingly, or maybe what they really found is that the R&D percentage of R&D budgets have really gone up
It's
for
gone up.
most of the tech and
Absolutely.
most of the segments. And
Mm-hmm.
the amount spent in advertising is actually kind of remained the same or went or gone down.
Precisely.
It's really about either you evolve or you perish. So that is basically, I guess, the mantra for any business.
Absolutely. That's the whole crux of it.
But I guess you're as enthusiasm as you were, because that I do remember. It's been 5 years, but I do remember you. One of the most enthusiastic students in the classroom. So
That
that
is something innate, prof. I can't help it. I mean, that's how I have been.
that helps.
Yeah, maybe I remember one of my friends, Rohan. He was with us. He
I
just gave
remember
me.
he was in
Yeah,
well,
yes, yes. So he once told me, you are the most Indian person I have met," and this is like, why is that a compliment or a comment? He said, "No, dude, take it as a compliment. I'm thankful. Thank you." So yeah, but yeah, maybe that enthusiasm kept me going. Maybe that's the fact. So
Okay.
yeah,
It was great chatting with you, Manish. Okay.
same here, prof. It was
And
so
all the
nice
best for
to
your
meet you.
future journey, and then keep in touch.
Sure,
Okay.
prof. I'll
Thank
be
you.
Singapore and we'll meet for sure.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.